Welcome back, everyone. We are live with more Nations Royale coming your way. We finished our last game a little while back. It was a fun one. It was a fast one, and therefore it was also a little bit of an extended break in between the two matches we've seen. I'm Toby, joined by Saint. And as I said, Nations Royale coming your way, the EU side of things, and we're hopping on over to the losers bracket. Greece and Hungary, Saint. As you said earlier, we've seen them play before. What are your thoughts on this matchup?
Well, this is really the last chance, right? I mean, they've lost that first game, but everyone has two chances in this. Everyone has that second game that they can, well, in the losers bracket, that they can do survive. So really, both teams need to bring their A game now because, I mean, if they lose this one, they're out of the tournament.
Exactly. Let's take a look at the bracket and see what these guys have fought their way through already and what is coming up. Ukraine beat Germany. Oh, that was an interesting one. Let's see. Netherlands, they managed to beat Czechia as well. Russia, Turkey, that's going to be a good one in the top things. Those are all the games taking place tomorrow. So that's all going to start at 6 o'clock CEST tomorrow. Here we have the lower bracket where you can see Hungary and Greece. The winner of that match starting in just a short moment will be fighting Germany.
That's rough.
Tomorrow. That's going to be tough for either of the two teams making their way through. We're still waiting for some other matches to finish as well, as you can see. And then Norway, Sweden, that winner will go up against Czechia. Finland will fight the winner of Denmark and Kosovo. Denmark beat Poland. Huh. Good for you, Denmark. Will you beat Finland? I don't know.
I mean, you'd expect Denmark to get through that Kosovo match. I mean, at least the favorite. We're not going to talk about the UK, as the producer mentions it in my ear. I'm not going to speak about the fact they're out.
Yeah, they are. They got beat by Sweden. That's embarrassing.
I'm like 1/25th German, so can I be German today?
How can you be 1/20? Oh, I guess you can.
Like one of my ancestors ages ago was German, so you know. So
I'm 1/25 is
German.
still. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I see. I was just thinking 1/25th. That's like an odd number. How does that make?
I was there again. Probably 24. Probably there.
that
sounds better.
Probably that you could argue more, unless it was like adopted sister, maybe.
A very long time ago, there was someone that was German in my family, so I'm German today, and we're not going to speak about how bad the UK did.
Can you pick and choose nationalities like that? I feel like I have quite a few different nationalities I could pick and choose from too. Then that'd be pretty useful at times.
I'm actually eligible for like 6 passports, so I could actually do that if I wanted to. I could be Namibian tomorrow.
I'm just Danish. Kind of boring, I guess. Just Danish.
I'm all over the place. But yeah, I mean, I don't think we've seen too many upsets today, right? I mean, I think the Germany-Ukraine match is probably the only one where I think maybe the favorite didn't win.
I mean,
UK going out is good.
The match that we watched, I feel like it wasn't because the end result was upsetting the fact that Turkey would go out and win, but the way that they did it, I was actually not. I mean, we said it in the start that it could go 3-0 either way. I just, as much as I said it and said it could happen, I didn't really expect it to.
Yeah, it kind of felt like a round one match. You know, it kind of felt like what we saw last week, where we had some big mismatches in round one, and despite the fact that both teams had won a few games to get there. Turkey just looked so much better. I mean, it is something that happened before, right? I mean, they 3-0'd Finland in the semi-finals last time around. So I don't know if that was because Turkey was just too good or whether Finland played badly. But I mean, I think that's the closest we've got to like a proper upset is just how dominant that match was.
Now, one of the interesting things, and that's part of the reason that I love watching these, watching the Greek team play. Not only is Chinje a fun guy to be around, I've had the pleasure of meeting him a couple of times at different GLL events, but they have a thing. At least they used to have. I hope they still do a thing where if they are about to win a round and the opposing team has 1 or 2 players left alive, the commander, being Chinje, will start yelling in their comms, pan, 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 and then you'll see the entire Greek army swapping their rifles to no matter where they're in the world. If there's only 1 or 2 players left, they will take their pants out and they will start sprinting towards you. And I'm thinking now that you can throw them because you couldn't back in the former Nations Royale, it's gonna be even more deadly. A kitchen force of just pants flying towards you if you're the last player of Hungary.
But they have to get to that winning position in the first place, right?
True.
Their opponents, Hungary, we've seen them in the past do quite well. I mean, they did go out, I think, first round in season 2, but in season 1 they were okay. And in the games we've seen them, I mean, we watched them last week and they were pretty good until they walked into Russia.
Yeah,
but I mean,
you can't really blame them
Yeah.
for losing to Russia, can you? I don't know. I mean, they put up a decent fight. It was just every time, and I feel like it was kind of the same situation as we saw with Finland earlier. Every time there was a situation where we thought, okay, you know what, this one might actually go their way, the other team was just overwhelming. Like, they were just too much of a powerhouse, just simply push through. Doesn't matter if you build a big wall, if it's made out of cardboard, it won't work, right? So obviously a mismatch there, but up against Greece, I don't know. I mean, Greece they've made it to finals a couple of times, so by no means a bad team, but I feel like for sure their chances are, the odds are bigger going up against Greece than they were against Russia.
Yeah, I mean, Greece were the finalists. They got absolutely demolished by Turkey last time. Right? They got 4-0'd by Turkey, but they did make it to the grand final in season 2. So I think coming into this, we have to sort of see them as the favorite, right? But I mean, from what we've seen from Hungary, I expect this game is going to be quite a close one. Maybe not all the way to map 5, but I expect we're at least going to see 4.
Yeah, you're probably right. I mean, I would be surprised by a 3-0, but then again, I mean, any given match we can talk about map picks and whatnot, but I feel like you don't have, we're the best on this map. I mean, it's fun to talk about, but it's still, you're so many players together. What really matters is the circles. If you could, instead of picking a map, say we want to have the first circle be like in that area or something, that could be fun. Like, one team gets to pick the map, the other team gets to pick where the first circle goes. Now, we don't have the like custom match capacities of setting up something like that, but that could be pretty fun. So like, you might get to pick the arena, but we get to pick kind of which side we want to start on. Do you want to be on military? Do you want to be going somewhere else? I don't know. That could be a pretty interesting way to do it. But other than that, it doesn't really matter what map you're on, I feel like.
I feel like the only difference is Sanhok, right? Because of how differently it plays out compared to the rest of the maps. You know, you're looking at, I think generally speaking, on Erangel, Miramar, and Vikendi, the team that has the most gun skill and the team that works better in like that sort of lump that we see Turkey form, where they put like 20 players together, wins those maps. But Sanhok, you can rely on individuals more. True.
It's a little, you have more cover, and it's easier to get away after having been spotted. Now, let's see, here are your rosters for Greece and Cyprus and for Hungary. We saw Hungary, as you said, last week. They had some pretty good moments. Unfortunately, couldn't take down the Russian powerhouse. And Greece and Cyprus, a lot of recognizable names there, too.
Yeah, I mean, we're looking at this, we've got something like Freezy, Give It. I mean, they're all players that have, I think there's at least 4 or 5 players that made it to contenders, right? Back in the Pro League era of PUBG. So there is some pedigree to that Greece and Cyprus team that I think is probably why they're the favourites coming into this. But there are a bunch of players on Hungary, like Foda, for example, is a great example of someone that's been in the amateur scene for a while and has really shown how good they are in that scene. So I think we're going to have a pretty close one.
We'll see. First game is about to start, so let's get some hype going in the chat. I don't know if you're supporting one team or the other, but it's always lovely to see some support being shown. It seems to me like all the Greek players have bounced. They are going to go East Coast. They do have some Hungarian players joining them, but as you can see, Hungary also has managed to claim the military side of things.
And that's exactly what they did against Poland. Right, they got that Millie Island, and then they got that nice shift, and were just able to take control of it. So I'm curious if we're going to see that again. I mean, the plane path certainly favors a Millie shift. So if it does come down to that, you have to put Hungary as the favorites of map 1. But it looks like a couple of seconds, then we're going to see.
Yeah, another 20 seconds to go, and we will know exactly where the game is headed. I mean, with the first circle being as small as it is, and it literally being able to go anywhere, I just want to see it go wide west, like just full speed west. I've had games before where the circle was so far away from both teams that the end fight ended up happening in like circle 1.5 because that's pretty much what I was saying. Because both teams, like, it doesn't really matter too much where the circle goes. We just need to find a place to take this fight on, and it can kind of happen anywhere.
I mean, this is pretty much the circle we saw earlier, right? In our first best of 5. And what we saw work out was taking the hills, taking that high ground. I mean, yes, I say that like Finland didn't have the high ground and lost it, but it was always playing for the top of those hills that worked out. So I'm kind of looking for those teams that can take the area around shooting range, can take that western hill first. And whichever team does get there first, I think it has to be in the ascendancy of map 1.
Yeah, we'll see. Guess who? He has been spotted by, or at least he's seen 2 Hungarian players joining him in the prison area. It doesn't seem to me like he has any immediate backup coming his way. So right now he's going to be sitting tight with a Scar and a VSS. On the other side of things, Foda, a little caught out in the open, but Ribbons is making his way on down. Help is arriving as I say that. No, Ribbons. Why would you do that?
You hate to see that. You truly do. And
he was standing still and so patiently waiting for the taxi, and the taxi driver just slapped him with a car.
Oh, and one thing is worth pointing out is they're probably the two most, probably the 2 best players on the Hungarian roster as well. So they can't stay away in that fashion. Teammates on B-Power. So that's suboptimal, I think is the best way to put it.
That was...
It's not a great way to lose 2 players.
No, by no means. Guess who? Pew, 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 with a VSS. Can fire bullets because they won't have any clue where they're being shot at from, but doesn't lead to much. We'll continue to loot. Sora has gotten the info that the vehicle is wrapping around, and wait, are they running each other over again?
What's going on?
Hungary, hello? Are you all right, mates?
We've got people on the wrong team.
This is so
it's been teammates every time. Like, it's been teammates from actual comp teams. They kept running each other over.
He's even dropping a first aid for him, just trying to be nice. This is
just refused to pick it up.
Confusing. Sora can see all of these guys. I don't think he wants to shoot, as you can see, because it is a 1v4. But if they all fall get into the car now and drive his way, that could be scary.
No, blew the game real open for Greece to find a way to win it, because if they can get a 4-man advantage, it's going to be massive for them. He's got the first one already, but they're going to pull up on him. And 1v3 now, but he's got teammates behind that could come and help out. He's got 2 already. Oh.
Won't get more of it. You do have Guess Who from inside prison making his way on out now, though the rest is already coming in. Guess Who might be able to get either a knock or a re-knock in time. He's running up over the top. He has the mini and he's just inches away from being eyes on. Sees one. He's going to go for the headshot on the other. Smart play by him.
Magebane strikes as well.
But get the other kill. Magebane is on the other side too to get a knock. And this is looking real bad for Hungary right from the start.
Yeah, and what initially looked like a good pull-up to save their teammates actually gets real punished by Guess Who. Magebane goes for the drive-by. He's going to get the final kill. Yeah, there we go. So 4-for-1 trade in the end in Greece's favor. That's going to push that man advantage. It goes all 3 up already now. So Greece starting to take control of this game. That 3-man advantage early on should put them in the driving seat for the rest of the game. But if Hungary can get to the middle of the map before them, if they can get control of those hills, we're probably going to see a pretty even game.
Yeah, there's a good chance that they... they're far from out of it yet. Now, 3 players is, as little as it may seem, it's actually a surprisingly high amount of players to lose early on. And it's a tough deficit, or tough, I guess you can say, disadvantage to be running into the actual fight with, because you never want to find yourself in that situation. But now let's see. Greece, they are rotating forward. There's a chase going on. Genesis is Magnum trying to get away from him. He's by himself, so he doesn't have the pleasure of being able to shoot, while everyone else seems to have fun shooting towards him.
He's got 2 teammates on the side of the bridge that's just not stopping and helping. If they pulled up, they could get 2 free kills here. Yeah, they get...
They're going to turn around. It makes sense, too, as you were saying. I think they sold 1 more car ahead, and now Benio starts running over teammates. So we are 6 minutes into this game, and Hungary has run over 3 players. That is as stupid as anything I've seen in a long time.
Shinji can see this as well.
Yeah, he has a Mosin out, but doesn't have a lot of ammo.
He could have punished that, I think, but it looks like they're going to favor getting towards the circle. So he's going to pull up. His designated driver comes to pick him up. And,
see, that's how you get into a car, by the way, without getting damaged.
Wait for it to stop. Usually helps.
Or just don't stand in front of it.
Also
and don't drive your teammates over. There are so many ways you can do that.
I think people have been playing COD, because in COD you can literally just jump onto the car as it drives past.
Maybe that's what it is.
I forget what game they're playing.
Maybe that's what it is. They've been playing the wrong games.
Well, I'm looking at this circle now. Neither team really is taking control of those power positions, right? I mean, we see some Hungarian players up on the hill, but they've only got like 3-4 players up there. So if Greece just want to go crash it, they can pretty easily and take control of like the plane area. But it looks like neither team is really favoring that for now.
Yes. Wait, are you actually kidding me, Hungary? This is starting to. I'm starting to question whether you're doing it on purpose or not.
I just
Is it
actually
like
face bombed.
once per second minute they have to run each other over? They've run over each other 4 times now in 7 minutes.
Trying to keep it fair. I don't know why they're running each other over so much.
Absolutely no sense. To be fair, it is a lot of cars maneuvering around at the same time, but
you should be in the car. Like, how are we getting run over?
Yeah, it shouldn't be that difficult.
Yeah. At least no harm done. They do get up. I mean, there'll be second knock, which would be a little bit annoying, but it's very rare that you see players like get rezzed in Nations Royale, because normally there's like you get knocked, you just get flushed instantly because you have like 5 people shooting at you. Right? But the one thing it does do is it slows you down.
Yes.
You're basically forcing one car, which could have like 3 or 4 people in, to stop and get that res, which really delays the push. But it looks like Greece isn't going to be in an amazing position because Hungary already has that little group in the middle of the map that has locked down the hilltop that we were saying so strong. But if Greece can punish that before the reinforcements come in, if they can get control of it now, then they're going to be in a really strong position.
We'll see Trias. He has eyes on a buggy on the other side, and what's by the buggy? A lot of people. Well, a lot, make that 2. But 2 of the Greek players are pushing up the hill. That Nate gets down the first. That's Boxbub finding Earth's death. Molotov will finish him off, and now Gucci's just gonna send it. There's no reason for him to
he's so low.
There.
2 bullets will put him down easy, but it looks like he's gonna escape and get towards the sort of frontier, the outpost of the Greece team around this little shack. So it looks like for now he's gonna be okay. But the one downside is now they basically had to give control up of that hill. Right? The fact that he backed off sort of signaled that they can't afford to take control right now. So they're relegated to the side of the hill, which is really a suboptimal position to be in.
Yeah, it's unfortunate when you're forced out, but I guess that hill won't be too much of a fact anymore because Greece just got the circle. And I mean, these circles are full-on repeats of what we saw earlier today. It's actually kind of interesting. The circles are literally like repetitions of what we've seen earlier. It's Greece holding, at least half the team holding the defensive. Or is that a buggy upside down on the, what is
what's going on?
Hungary. Now they flipped the car in the middle of the bridge too. What's the age you have to be to get a driver's license in Hungary? 35?
It needs to be older than.
How are they all this horrible at driving?
I don't have a license. I could drive better than that. Yeah.
It's actually embarrassing to watch.
But it's slowing them down so much. Yeah. I mean, it's great for the viewer, but it slows them down so much in their rotations. And they're now sort of relegated to this eastern edge of the zone, right? I mean, we saw the power of that western hill in the Turkey versus Finnish game. The team that got to the top and took control of it was the team that won. So the fact that Hungary's basically got half their team stuck on this eastern edge, unless the circle shifts east, they're in a really tough spot.
How are you planning on holding off now, Greece? You do have the high ground. You have a decent position. The issue here is that in between these 2 teams, there's a lot of open space. Yes, you have trees and you have some rocks, but as you can see here, this is like a proper battlefield.
Well, that's not
here
good. We
have Berlinger. Will Weeder run him over? Weeder has already run over one teammate. Now Greece is doing it as well. I guess they were feeling bad for Hungary, that they were the only ones who were running each other over. That's fair enough.
Is he actually going to get in? Yeah, he is. He's
going to bandage.
I thought his HP was lower than it was. Yeah, he's going to be good.
All right.
But like,
he's all right.
It feels like Hungary are just so lethargic right now. Like Greece have... like Hungary got to the middle of the map first, right? But they just didn't take control of the map. They got there and they just sort of sat on their laurels and just let Greece move around them. And that's just put Greece in a much better position because Hungary is just all these players getting knocked, all these players that are just sitting still, and they've not really done anything. And now we look at this shift. I mean, that's going to be like, what does Hungary do here?
Push. Like they got a Turkey send it, I guess you can say. Like just have everyone crash the same area and force the Greek players away because I think they know and they must know that they are split to some extent. So if you can just like overrun them, then that will be your way to pushing through.
But the big problem is if they pull up on that ridge where like the sort of spine that we see Greece is taking control of, they can just get shot from the north. And he's got
casually killing each other as well now.
They're getting a bit messy. It's something we've seen a lot of from the sort of less established teams. Like we saw it in Asia a lot, where the sort of worse off teams were killing each other constantly because they just weren't paying attention. And it kind of feels like the same thing from Hungary right now, but they're just not not quite on the same page as a team. They're not quite aware of where their teammates are, and that's why you get those sort of knocks happening. But Creators run into a bit of a rough one here.
Yeah, up against. Oh wait, what? How did that?
How's he not dead?
The nade was literally on his feet and he didn't die. Interesting. Hungary has managed to push forward, but look where they are on the map. I mean, they're barely even inside the circle. But let's see if it's gonna matter regardless. Nade's being thrown forward.
So many of them.
A lot of Hungarian players are here too.
Yeah, I mean, they're just going for that flood, trying to get a man advantage, but they're getting traded right now. And that long-range support is coming in and really hampering Hungary's position.
I'm just thinking, yes, you're in a position that you can play from.
It's the freest skill he's ever got.
Now you push into this position.
Where do you go?
Look at where they have to get away from. Like, they have to get out of here too, and where do you go from here?
Yeah, I mean, Greece is just taking control of that spine now.
Why would you play from there?
I kind of feel like they had to just crash where Better Metal is. Right? They had to hit this spot, take out the small group that was there before the reinforcements came in, and then just try and take their gunfight. But instead, they seem to be favouring the out-rotate strategy, which I think just doesn't work in Nations Royale.
It just seems like a pointless place to go, because you risk a lot of players getting there, and at the same time, getting away from there, you're going to most likely lose a few players as well before any fights even happen.
Yeah, it's like you're just prolonging the inevitable, right? They're just trying to find a way to get to the next circle without taking a gunfight that may not be an advantage at. But all they're doing is making their odds of survival less, right? Because, I mean, this circle now, if they'd crashed, it'd probably be 60-40 in favour of Greece, right? But the next circle now, they've lost a few more players. Their vehicles are like lower damage. Now it becomes like a 70-30 in favour of Greece. Like, yes, you're getting to the later phases, but you're making your chances of winning much worse.
Exactly. They're all kind of pinned in the corner, and they need a miracle in order to be able to stay in that compound for the next circle shift. See players rotating on over to next houses, but that ain't giving them a whole lot more control. It's this open stretch in the middle they have to push through. They do have a couple of players up towards the north, and now this circle does actually allow, at least for parts of the compound area, to stay in, but you gotta say Greece is still in the best position, despite the numbers being pretty even.
Yeah, the only sort of the win condition now for Hungary is getting control of those apartments on the north side of the road. Because if they can get that and get most of their team across the road, suddenly they have a free path onto the hill, and they're in a pretty equal fight. And it seems like they're recognizing that they can use this urban ground, which really isn't being defended by Greece enough for me. I want to see like 5 or 6 Greek players in each of those apartment buildings, just stopping Hungary from crossing. Because if they do get across, suddenly it becomes a bit of a 50-50 again.
Yeah, they could try and see, and you can see they are all making their way over now as well. There are players here. They need more, of course, as you say. But if they can hold off here, nice shooting from Vine. If they can hold off here, there's not really anywhere the Hungarian team can go.
Yeah, and it just feels like at the minute they've sort of recognized that, but they're not committing enough. They have like one player in each building. Realistically, you need to stack this, because you can see Hungary's trying to make the cross now.
And they have to. Here comes Marcy. Marcy is trying to wrap back towards the teammates, going to the opposite end, and they're going to blow up. Now 3 people dead. Bada bing, bada boom.
And that man advantage, Greece has to recognise now that Hungary is locked on that south side. They've cleared out the north. They know that the compound's clear. So they need to just stack that south side. They need to force Hungary into this tiny position. But it looks like Hungary's already starting to get across with that smoke wall.
One player made it through. That's an 8. He's on his own for now. Those opponents on the other side, and seems like they're backing off. Greece saying, you know what, you can have the houses. We'll just move on up and hold you from above. And then, unfortunately, leaving a few of the players behind. There is I was going to say a negative. That's the wrong game. There is M249 ready and waiting inside. So maybe, let's see how many kills 150 bullets can find.
And this AUG as well. So you've got 2 pretty strong guns for holding inside. And they're at the top of the staircase. There's only one position that the Hungarian players can come from. If they start feeding the Nazgul, as they're going to do, but he actually gets the first kill, really gets him down. And now it's 1v8. It's go straight. Oh, he's got 3.
That's 1. That's 2.
He's got no HP, surely.
Oh, no.
He got another one.
The money is there, so he's going to be able to get 1 flush with it. But had he just held down this fire, I mean, look at that, 1 nade.
Oh, no, they got it.
1 nade in there would have been insane. I mean, they should be able to throw a nade over the small window from outside up towards the left, but the angle is there. They would literally be like a quadruple or like a 6 kill nade. That'd be pretty interesting.
But I'm just looking at this now, and if Greece had just stacked those buildings, there's no way for Hungary to cross that road, right? But now they've allowed like 20 players to get onto the north side of the road. And yes, there's still an advantage, but that kill feed, it started to look very Hungarian.
It's not going to be to get out of there, that's for sure.
Oh,
ow.
Nice.
Good headshot coming in. Then you can see, I mean, again, we're in a situation where Hungary, yes, there's a chance that they win if all the circles go down south to them and they can stay inside. But if that circle goes anywhere north, it's going to be so damn hard for them to push out.
But it's easier than if they're on the south side of the road. So, I mean,
true.
It's still possible. I'd say it's probably like a 70-30. But the one big benefit Hungary has right now is they can flush knocks, but all those people that get knocked in the building, so they just get rezzed. So if Greece is like peaking, trading knocks 1-for-1, realistically they're putting themselves at a man disadvantage, and they had like a 4 or 5 kill advantage. Greece that's just evaporated because Hungary is able to pick these players off from the hard cover with no real way to lose players.
I'm surprised that Greece has backed off as much as they have, actually. When you're seeing here, I thought they were going to be playing more up close on the kind of the hillside, but they've all backed off. And I mean, there isn't much to play around, but kind of given Hungary at least a chance to try and push up from the compound side.
Yeah, I mean, this game mode is all about map control. That like, if there are 2 words that you could say are the most important words for this game mode, is map control. And it just feels like Greece is handing it over to Hungary, feeding them as much control as they want. And yes, they do still have control over the majority of the circle, but realistically, the whole center of that map is so exposed to that hard cover in the compound that they can't really play it. And that's why we're seeing so many Greek players get picked off.
Let's see. How can you fare here? Hungary has not the majority, but pretty much everyone stacked down inside the apartments, and they most likely at least need to push out at some point. But as you're saying as well, I mean, Greece ain't really doing a really good job of containing right now. They're losing players all over the place.
Yeah, and it's just slowly but surely building into a bigger man advantage for the Hungarian roster. I mean, you see the occasional knocks come in from Greece. Amiga's got one onto Nitro, but I mean, he's in a hardcover, so it's just res him. But every time that Greek player gets knocked, he's got like 4 or 5 people with different angles. And I mean, Greece have just backed off all the way to the northern edge, and suddenly look at that. I mean, if Hungary loses this, I will eat a hat on stream.
That'd be weird.
Yeah. It's an English
made of chocolate.
No, just normal hat. Normal hat.
Okay.
Leather hat. I will eat it on stream because they're not losing this.
That's gonna need a lot of ketchup.
Yeah, I mean, I've got some barbecue sauce. So
I mean, you gotta think that Greece kind of threw it, right?
Yeah, I mean, they had literally had 95% of the circle.
Yeah,
and they've just let Hungary in.
They allowed for them to push around for what seems to me to be no reason.
I mean, they had Hungary locked with no vehicles on the other side of the road, and they just backed off. And for me, that's just a big mistake. And now you look at that kill feed. I mean, I've not seen a Greek flag on the left for about 30 seconds now.
I'm just baffled by how they, I mean, allowed them. They just constantly backed off. It was as if they thought they were a lot weaker than what they were.
Yeah, and now, because of, I mean, they have that big ridge as well on the south, right? Just outside of the compound, there's a massive ridge on the hill. So once again, even though Greece are knocking players, there's just no opportunity really to flush them. So every time Hungary's getting a knock on the player that's by a tree, someone from a different angle can knock the flush. And all of a sudden, we've got an 11-man advantage for Hungary. It's just a bit of a... I mean, they're going to stomp it. It's not even a close game. There's something where Greece are in such a great position, they just completely threw the game away.
This should, in my eyes, never have been a Hungarian win. But it is, regardless. They run each other over, they shoot each other, they rotate practically out of the map, and somehow they also win games. Hungary up 1-0 over Greece in what to me was a very clear Greek win.
Yeah, I mean, we spoke about how bad that compound on the south was, where literally the entire Hungarian roster was stuck in 3 buildings. They found a way to cross the road on the northern side. They got control of those apartments. And from there, they had so much map control. But, I mean, how is a team that's making these kind of mistakes at the start winning with 21 people alive? And
that wasn't just a one-off thing. They did it 4 times in the first 7 minutes. They did wonky, weird rotations. And still, I mean, I'm really not trying to be rude here, but there was just nothing happening until the point where Greece just kind of backed off. There was nothing happening that gave any signs that Hungary should win that game. But they managed to do it.
I mean, Greece got a great advantage from this. They were able to trade 4 kills for 1, right? And they put themselves in that early. I think it was a 3-kill advantage, to 29 to 26. They had the map control. They had the man advantage, and they just threw both of them away.
Very interesting. Very, very interesting. But they do manage to take it home. And in the end, I mean, a game is a game, and a win is a win, and that's all that. That's all that matters. Doesn't matter how you do it, as long as you win it, then you're fine.
I mean, you think if there was like 3 or 4 players here, they could kill every single Hungarian player in that staircase easily. Yeah. If there are just 2 more players there, they could get like 8 kills there,
I mean,
and probably all survive.
Could have killed all of them.
Exactly. So I just feel like they needed to stack those apartments. They needed to put like 3 or 4 in each apartment. They would have been fine.
They would have been fine, but woulda, shoulda, coulda ain't always the way you expect it to go. And I guess that's also a telling story of of Nations Royale. Things don't always go down the way that you expect them to. But guys, we're gonna take a short break. Hungary up 1-0 over Greece and Cyprus. Let's see what happens when we're back in just a few. We are back and ready with more PUBG action coming your way. Nations Royale, let's say I'm Toby, joined by Saint, and Hungary, surprisingly enough, after that game, are ahead 1-0 over Greece and Cyprus. They run each other over, they rotate out of the circles, and they win games. That's just part of the strategy. It's all a big illusion. It's a smoke bump to distract you, you know?
We just had a 3,000 IQ play from Hungary. They just knew that Poland would back off, or Greece would back off, rather. And they just managed to play around it. Either it was something incredible from Hungary, or Greece just completely threw that game. But I'm expecting it's going to be a blip in the road. I mean, we've seen Greece in the past in Nations Royale do so well that I can't believe that that's something that was like they're consistent. I see that as a mistake from them, and I expect in these next maps it's going to be a lot closer.
You would only expect so. I mean, in many different ways, I feel like that map was close, just not for the reasons that we thought it was going to be close. Because initially, I mean, both teams were far away from the circle. Yes, Hungary run each other over, but it was a pretty easy, like, even affair for a lot of the time, and then they just decided to send it full speed south, and that's where things kind of stopped making sense to me. But here are your leaderboards, or your kill trackers, I should say. After game 1, Hellcat found 4 kills, the most from any player. MageBane was up there tied with a few others, but Hungary did manage to get the win, and therefore obviously also found most kills.
Yeah, and you look at that, and once again we're seeing a lot of people from one team get kills. Yeah, 18, more than half the team from Hungary get kills. But I think that game really, the people that sort of won it for Hungary were the ones that got across that road first. You know, it got to those apartment buildings, because when they were able to clear those out, they went from having no map control to literally controlling 90% of the circle just by having that high ground. So yeah, I think that was a real pivotal moment. And as you said, until then, like it was Greece's game to lose. So even though it was 21 alive for Hungary at the end, it did still sort of feel like a close game.
Exactly. Now we are going to head over to Miramar, as you can see. And speaking of high ground, that's probably the name of the game when you're in this deserty wasteland. Greece, Cyprus out early. Seems like there is going to be no intertwining with the different teams. As I say that, there's a couple of Hungarian players hopping what seems to be towards El Pozo.
I'm curious whether they're going to commit to that, or whether they're going to back off and maybe take vehicles, go south, because that's it's going to be rough. Joining El Pozo, like pretty much half the players. So it looks like they're turning around and heading. Actually, they're going to go south in the end. So we're going to get a fairly rigid split, I think, between the northwest and the southeast. With Hungary sort of focused on the Los Iones area. But I'm really curious, like if this is the game where, let's say, we get a circle on the eastern edge, right? And maybe Greece is more comfortable in that sort of the aggressive position. Right?
Yeah, I mean, this could go either way right from the start. I mean, you're seeing Hungarian. I mean, I said it was going to be a early game with no fights, and they weren't on top of each other. They are very much so on top of each other. They are completely sandwiched, and you can see already now, Fight's gonna say maybe next time you have that one on burst.
Yeah, and he just got skirted by the Uzi.
Or his skirt.
So the first kill, but it's actually because Greece only had 31 players. Technically, it's not a man advantage. So
now it's not anymore though.
Yeah, but they've destroyed the man advantage at least. But yeah. I mean, I'm looking at this, and those two, the BP5 players. I mean, Foda didn't really get a chance to have an impact last game, but I spoke about how Foda and Ribbons were like probably the best players on this team. Right? The BP5 roster is the Hungarian roster that's had the most success at a competitive level. So you're expecting those kind of players, if they can make it out of phase one, it really gives Hungary a big advantage going late game if they can keep their sort of powerhouse players alive.
Exactly. Let's see. Scolito. No, Vest does have a decent helmet and a AK though. Ooh, does Box Pop? No, I think he saw him on the roof. Yep, he's
seen his head. Yeah,
he's seen him. He has a helmet though, so that's gonna make him think twice about shooting. He's actually gonna nade instead. Maybe he'll be able to avoid giving up his position by doing so. Oh, no, falls a little short. Now more players chime in. That's Michael from down the road, trying to help out too, but Scolito does manage to stay alive, and well, I guess that's gonna make this a somewhat more even 2v1, I guess, maybe 2v2 fight.
Oh, but this nade might be big if he can get it in the window before Musical peeks now. Oh, he does get it. He gets the knock. So now a 2v1, and I think he saw Scolito as well as he peeked the corner. So, no, it's going inside. So that should flush. He missed the nade. That actually helped.
Yeah, I was gonna say it doesn't go in, and therefore it does damage. That's interesting.
That's the second nade he's missed now, but the second time the missed nade has done damage. So suddenly Hungary finding a bit of an advantage here because Michael's come in to help his teammate out. So they got the flush, and now Scolito needs to find a way out of this. But another two players are coming to join in. Was it two? Was it three? I can't tell. But I mean, it's not long for this world. Nope. He does get the one down. It was actually a box pop that actually knocked his own teammate. But no flash is going to come in. So 2 kills the way of Hungary.
Hungarian things. It's all part of the smoke screen, you know? It's,
the master plan.
Yeah. So, like, it's like the whole... Oh, nice circle, by the way. It's like being fake wounded, you know?
But bait the enemy in. And then attack. But I mean, as you said, nice circle for Hungary. Right? I mean, they have a lot of control at the center of this. And we said that maybe Greece were more more favoring the sort of the aggressive strategy over. Well, I say that like didn't back off from every gunfight in the last map, but maybe they want to be the team on the attack this time. And I mean, they're given an opportunity. There's a perfect opportunity for them to sort of turn it around, for them to be the team that is aggressing. And I think this game is really going to tell the scene for the rest of the match, right? Yeah, I think if this goes the way of Hungary, then we're going to see a 3-0.
I could see that happening as well. I mean, again, and that's the thing, right, with Nations Royale. It's sometimes it doesn't matter what map it is and what circles you get, because the better team will just go out and outshine the opponents. But in other situations, the better team on paper can get screwed by a massive circle favoring one team. And I feel like, I mean, now, yes, we have more Hungarian players down here. Right now, it doesn't matter too much. It's only circle 1. But if this one goes in the favor of Hungary and the circles go their way too, and Greece kind of feels like it's a game that was lost before it even started, then them being able to kind of carry that momentum over into game 3 is going to be tough.
Yeah, but it's all about the way you lose the games, right? Because sometimes you just lose a game and you just think, oh, well, there's nothing I could do. We move on. But, I mean, coming out of that game 1, where, I mean, there were probably 6 or 7 times in that game where Greece could have just closed it out. Greece could have held a specific position and just won the game. And the fact they didn't, you have to expect that Hungary's pretty hyped, turning around that game. And the Greece has to be a bit demotivated. So now I kind of see this map as the reset map for Greece, right? If they can win this, and they can shut down that momentum from Hungary, then they should be able to come back into the series. But if this goes down once again to another Hungary stomp, I just don't see a way mentally for Greece to get back into the series.
Now, the real question, other than Skurt getting kills, is
he's going off?
Yeah, he's woken up. Like to see it. The question here being, does either of these two teams beat Germany?
I think with the way I say we've seen quite a lot of Hungary, right? We've seen Another team kill. We've seen what? This is the third series we've seen Hungary play. And in that first series we watched, round one, they were really good. Against Russia, it was a bit of a mismatch mechanically, right? That was why they lost the game. But in this, once again, I think they looked really good as a team in map one. So I could see Hungary take a really close game. I'm not sure if they can win it, but I think it'd be a really close one versus Germany.
See, Trim tries to get the kill on Michael. Not gonna happen. Boxfog and him will be able to maneuver through. Get safely to the other side. And they should be alright. Circle seems like it's moving further up north. So maybe there's something to play around for Greece here.
But I think that was the area that Hungary had quite a bit of control over, at least at the start. They might have left, but they had a lot of control of these compounds on the sort of the center of the circle. Would like to see the map to know just how much control they have. But this little spot here, it's kind of rough to play out of because it's down in a little valley. You kind of have to use this as a staging post to move on. And with this little Greek roadblock from Skirt, who's already got 3 kills, could get up to 5 very soon. If they can do a bit of damage here and push that man advantage back in the favor of Greece, they're doing a great job.
It's a tough area to fight through, and I mean, before the game even started, we said it right: high ground control. If you can sit on one of these elevated positions, you can literally see like everything. You can kind of see where the opponents are going before they even start moving.
I saw him. There should be. Oh, he's got M24 though. This is like one of those opportunities where you really do not want an M24. You want a DMR so you can knock someone and just insta flush them. But for now, it looks like. I mean, it is 2v6 here, so it's going to be very rough for Skirt and Vicon to actually do any damage. But if Skirt can just get 1 or 2 more, he's already got 3 kills this game, right? If he can get that 1-for-1 trade now, he's done a lot of work.
True. They have got a few players down by the church, and Greece tries to, as you can see, kind of hold them, not isolated, but kind of pin them in. I like that play. Disallow them from maneuvering around, and you might see yourself in a better situation. Only issue being, there's only 3 people really dedicated to doing that, and I feel like they need more. Nope, as you can see, all are allowed to leave.
Yeah, it's because his job there was really to act as a roadblock, right? To prevent that Hungarian group from leaving. It looks like they just found a way to drive past. Talking of drive past, Hellcat's not made it through Mr. Korkas on the eastern side. But you see the sort of the central control is very Hungarian. But the fact that it's gone north again, I mean, Hungary still has the high ground now. They still have the high ground of Chimisera. But all of that low ground now can be dominated by Greece. And realistically, it's going to be that phase 4 that decides the game for me.
Let's see. Greece gotta start sprinting into the city, and I feel like Mie has 4 kills this game. He's been a massive impact on it. I feel like it's gonna come down to Chimisera and how you play it. Can Greece get up the hill and also play the high position? Then there might be a better chance for them to win it.
Yeah, I mean, that high ground in Chimisera is so strong. If you get those sort of 50-50 circles where both the high and low is in, but there is that opportunity where it shifts north, and then suddenly you have to try and get off the high ground. And realistically, you've only got 2 ways down. So there's like an opportunity where Greece can sort of pin Hungary up there and maybe turn this into a good game for them. But for now, it is sort of slightly looking in Greece's favour, at least in the kill feed. But only a 2-man advantage of phase 3 is really not the end of the world.
Oh no, it can still go either way. It's I feel like all going to come down to who manages to fortify whichever positions they decide to play the best. See J running around, trying to get some more info. He is an active captain on the team. No backlining from him. He's going to be in the danger with his comrades. Sword in hand, yelling charge when times comes to it. Oh, not sword in hand, more like in a Mirado, but same effect essentially.
I'm kind of getting the same feeling from this game as we saw with Finland and Turkey, where Hungary has just gone for the blob strat. They're in a group of about 20 here, and Greece is spread out in these little groups. And if they start getting picked off one by one like this, then what was a man advantage in Greece's favour is suddenly going to swing the other way. So I kind of feel like they need to just group up on Chimisera, make sure that Hungary has to stay on that high ground and can't get down, and then just play around the circles.
It seems to me like Hungary is just abusing the fact that, I mean, now they know, okay, these guys will back off if we just commit enough to a push. Greece just never stands their ground. They just constantly run away.
I kind of feel like that's just that is a very Greek circle. But Greece play in these little pockets, right? You see they're always spread out in these little groups rather than forming like these death blobs. And I think that is why they're so defensive. Like if you take it back to game 1, where they had like I think 4 players in the apartment buildings. That 4-man group recognized that they were going to get overwhelmed and just started backing off. They started pulling out. I feel like they need to do it the other way around, where if one of those mobs recognize they're going to get hit, they need one of the other groups to come and join in.
Yeah, you're right. That does make sense. You can only do so much in terms of aggression if you're like constantly divided into small groups of like 4 to 8 players. Whereas to when you saw the Russians and when we saw the Turkish earlier today, they never really had that issue because they would always, even when they were kind of split out, it was only as far away from one another that they could always come to back up, even if on foot. So, yeah.
I think if you take it to the Miramar game that Turkey had earlier, where they were in those 3 groups, right, and all 3 of them converged on the same point to take a gunfight, and I feel like that's the exact way you need to play this. But I really like the way Greece is set up here because they've recognised the importance of that ridge on the western edge of the circle. That's the way Hungary has to get into the circle, and they started to stack up on it, started to form a bit of a defensive line. And if Hungary can't break through that, if Hungary can't get control of that ridge, then I just don't see a way for them to win this game.
Oh, here comes Hungary. There's a buggy in front. There's a 3-man Murado behind it, and they're trying to make their way down. And are they going to be able to find anything, or is this just a run that's going to be way too far out in the open? Oh, that's an upside-down buggy. That's not optimal. There was space in the car to get picked up, but it ain't going to happen. Where are they going to go? I feel like this is going to be vehicle explosion in just a matter of seconds.
Now, this is really good bait. They need that southern group to move in off that.
Jared again, who gets the kills. 7 kills and counting.
But the Hungarian group on the south has pushed up on this. This is exactly what they needed to do. They need to use that as bait and get up on the ridge. And suddenly they're getting a lot of kills in the kill feed. I think 3 or 4 players have gone down. It's a great opportunity for them to get control of this ridge. And once again, Greece really doesn't have the majority of their forces in this position.
So it's once again the smoke screens. Hungary are just playing us for a fool here. They're acting like they don't have any idea what they're doing, but it's all part of a big master plan to make the opponents confused. And well, you can see it in the kill feed. It's working.
Yeah, we said this ridge was important, and I think Hungary's recognised that. And Greece just didn't put enough players on it for me. Skirts down as well, so there's no hope for Greece. Their hyper carry is out of the server now. So it's all down to these players. But now, like, you're stuck in this low ground. As soon as the Hungarian players get above you, like, what do you do?
Not all of they can do. Even running over the team captain, that's not the smartest idea in the universe. Better metal wins. Might have to go out and buy a cake or maybe a festive beer for your captain to be forgiven.
But look how many Greek players are just sat on the eastern side of this circle. Like, they know probably 95% of the Hungarian rosters in this one position. In fact, I think it's the whole Hungarian roster is in this spot.
Hey, are there any Hungarian players that aren't over there?
They know they're all here. They just need to stack it and just lock them out of the circle because they have that group of like 8-9 players sort of on the southwest side of the map. Exactly. But if they can't trade 2 for 1, Hungary's going to walk through them.
There are a lot of Greek players right now who don't really have any impact. I think that's what we can say. A lot of Greek players who are kind of just sitting around, not really contributing a whole lot. I mean, they are alive and waiting for fights to come, but if Hungary is allowed to make this into... Yeah, they're all here. If Hungary is allowed to make this into like 2 individual 17 versus 7 and then a 17 versus 10 player fight, they will always have the upper hand despite the numbers maybe on paper being against them.
The one good thing, the one saving grace that Greece has right now is that they didn't lose this position where Just Knight is. But they still have the edge of this ridge. So Hungary now has to try and play around that and run in the open. And realistically, you're expecting now that these players up on the ridges should be able to get a couple kills each and push that man advantage in Greece's favour.
Let's see, Greece. They, once again, they have the circle. It's happened before. What are they going to do with it, though? They have the compounds, they have the grounds they want to play around, and now it's, well, I mean, it's really up to them to determine how aggressively they want to hold. That's a oopsie. You don't run out in the open like that without your gun out. Now he's going to be met with bullets in return, though Death does manage to take him down. But as you can see, I mean, Phase 5 is closing in. It's going to hurt quite a bit, and these Hungarian players need to figure out how they want to push it, because it's no matter where they go, it's going to be a push hard in the open.
Yeah, they don't currently have anyone in the circle. There are 0 Hungarian players in that zone. And realistically, there's just no way in. Like, they didn't get control of the ridge. They couldn't take control of the full thing. And I feel like if they had done that, they could have like wrapped on the west where Sudden Nazgul is and Death and taken control of at least the west side of the map. But it kind of felt like they gave up on the plan. They went towards that eastern side, and now it's just a bit of a shooting gallery for the Greek players.
Yeah, you gotta think that this is going to be a Greek win. I mean, I don't see how it couldn't be, to be fair.
I mean, where do they go?
Way out. Yeah, that's the thing, right? There's really nowhere for them to go. And that's where you gotta... I mean, I feel like this should have been... what we're seeing right now should have been how last game went down as well.
Exactly.
With Hungary trying to sporadically find somewhere to go and Greece kind of just locking them down. Greece just somehow allowed for them to get the win in that game. And this seems much more like a... it's not as well controlled as I would have wanted it to be on the Greek side, but it is more like they kind of sheep herded them into a corner where they really couldn't go anywhere.
Yeah, I was very worried once we had that like the push on the ridge by the Hungarian players, and it's literally in his pocket. Realistically, by the Hungary, they're all in the same place, getting ripped apart. But yeah, we spoke about taking control of that ridge for Hungary, right?
Yeah.
We said that was the win condition, I think, for that game, and they just weren't quite able to get there. But it kind of felt like Greece tried hard to lose it, and they only put like 8 players at the top, right? And
there you have it.
It's not as close as closer than the last game, rather.
Yeah. True. 15-0 is the game board there. 1-1 is going to be the score. So for the first time today, we're going to see more than 3 maps. That's going to be interesting. Next up is Sanhok. Then we hop on over to Vikendi. You can see it. If you look down below, the vetoes were done prior to this matchup starting. And again... Okay, so in this game, we were talking about how circles can grant wins, and I feel like to some extent, maybe it did, because Greece continued to back off in situations where I feel like they should have stood their ground. But at the same time, Hungary might have over-rotated a little bit in situations where they didn't have to overcommit as much as they did.
I feel like here, when they went east, to me, that's a mistake. Like they had a lot of impact on the sort of western front of the Greek team. Right? They'd already taken down probably 2/3 of the Western Greek team, and if they could have cleared out the last third, yes, they only have control of like 20% of the circle, but they find a way in with a lot of their players. They find some cover that they can play around at least.
Yeah,
they sort of committed to an eastern rotation with no map control. That they didn't have anyone there in the first place to know that it was clear, and they just walked into a trap.
Yeah, and it played out well, to be fair, for Greece. When they backed off and allowed for Hungary to cross to it, I was like, oh no, are they actually doing this again? Yeah. Like, how are they opening up the door like that and allowing for Hungary to push through? But they did have the response to it in the end, that response being, well, there's a big field and it's outside the circle and you're screwed by trying to run through. Guys, that was it for game number 2. There's going to be a short break, then we'll be back and ready with Miramar. Don't make that Sanhok in just a short moment. So stick around. We'll see you in just a few. What was 1-0 has now become 1-1 as Greece find their way to a victory on Miramar. I'm Toby, joined by Saint, and we have got more Nations Royale coming your way. Now, first 2 games have been pretty interesting, but I gotta say, Saint, I said it in the first game, and I hope to see it in the second game, but Greece and Chinche, where were the pants? Who knew there was only a couple of players allowed down there? Where were the pants? Were they feeling too scared? Is that what it is? A little too scared to bring out the pants? Was that what it was?
Gotta make sure they get the map here. Yeah. with the way map 1 went, I think they wanted to secure it. But yeah, I mean, it was a much better performance by Greece. I mean, I think they got gifted the game a little bit. But if you look at map 1, they also sort of had a very similar thing where they had a lot of map control and they didn't close it out. So I think mentally for them, having that reset of being able to say, well, we actually survived. Yeah, okay, we actually did quite well that game. Now coming into Sanhok and then into Vikendi, I mean, suddenly are they favorites again?
I don't know. I mean, I see what it is that they're trying to do, and I understand what they're coming from. I just don't like the whole constantly backing off idea, because the only reason they could do that now was because they had somewhere to back off to. And it was the same thing in the last game. Look at that skirt with 7 kills in that game. But it's I don't know. I don't feel like it's gonna work. Like it's not gonna continue to work.
Yeah, I feel like Skirt's 7 kills helped out so much that game because he pushed that man advantage early on. Like I think it was 3 in favor of Greece and Cyprus, and then he shot that vehicle right as it was rotating. He got 3 kills on that, and you think if that gunfight on the ridge had happened with 7 more players alive, even if it was just like 5 more players there, I kind of see Hungary sweeping through it and winning that. So I think that game was all about I'm not necessarily all about the individuals, but the fact that they were able to pick off so many players in Hungary pretty early in the game, and even going through despite the fact that they kept giving away map control on that ridge, they just had such a big advantage that they closed it out.
Yeah, well, let's see. We are headed on over to Sanhok, where I want to say circles won't matter as much, merely just the fact that since vision is that much more limited, it's easier to flank around. Like it's better to get out of a bad position. It's easier, I should say, to get out of a bad position than it is for a team like when you have to run through a 500-meter open field on either of the other maps. To be fair, I feel like Sanhok is a little more forgiving in that.
Yeah, I'm curious whether the sort of the pocket strat of Greece, where they have those little groups, whether that's going to be favored on Sanhok. I kind of feel like death stacks, the 20s and 25 man blobs running around the maps is favorable on Sanhok because you just flood through those little groups you meet. But I'm curious if they can set up like a really fortified front line, on a hilltop, taking control of enough compounds that even though they're in those little groups, they just have such an advantage in the gunfights. Maybe they win. And that circle, if there's ever a circle based on how these two teams are set up that would be 50-50, I'd say it's this.
Yeah, that is a pretty even one. We see Pullman going down immediately. Chinche is isolated as well, all on his own now. Over on that northwestern island, could use any Greek or Cyprus player to come his way, but right now the only people maneuvering towards his compound are people from Hungary.
And if you have the misfortune to get stuck in these kind of situations, you just want to get a couple kills. If you can get a 2-for-1 trade, even if you die out, and push that man advantage a little bit in your team's favor, that's big for me. You've done your job.
I mean, I guess you always at least want to take down one guy with you, right? Mm-hmm. That's like that should be not demanded, but kind of. I mean, that's unfortunate for both of them, to be fair.
Yeah, I think DNK was holding that angle for the whole time. Yeah. And then he unpeaks and Chinje was in it. But it looks like they're going to work well together. The knock comes in. So Chinje not able to get a kill, which is shoot a little bit of bodies there. But the fact that he wasn't able to get anyone down with him was a little bit rough for Greece.
Yeah, it feels bad, man. I don't know. I've been trying to think of a way. Now I know Chinche is a guy who likes to be upfront and fighting and all stuff. We saw it there. But I feel like as a captain, maybe it's easier. Maybe it sounds weird, but maybe it's easier to be dead because you get to fly around and see people. Now I believe you can only see like POV spectate the people from your own squad of 8.
Yeah.
So you can't go to everyone, but still you can go up on the map and see everything, and you can kind of try and coordinate with your squad where people should go and whatnot. You have kind of more eyes to send your troops around, whereas when you're playing yourself, you also like have that kind of factors to work with.
Yeah, it's kind of like that. You have your headquarters now with the general back in the base that's directing the combat.
Let's, despite him dying, of course, he's still going to be a talkative man, as always. Let's hear what the Greek players are doing right now.
Θες λίγο το μπεκάτσα εμένα, άκουσε παρακαλώ, πρέπει να συνεννοηθούμε για να φύγετε. Στο 5 έχει άτομο?
Στο 5 όχι, στο camp
τέλεια, πρέπει να έχει πηγαίνει στο 5 μαζί με τον Μάριο και παίρνετε βάρκα και φεύγετε. Να πάτε προς bootcamp.
Μάριο,
έρχομαι εδώ, δεν έχω τίποτα να ξέρεις. Κράνος Βέστερο.
Πάμε το regroup guys να γίνει.
Μέιτς έχεις όχημα. Όχι σου είπα ρε μπρο, δεν μ' ακούς.
Τι να κατέχει κόσμο μπεκάτσα.
Θέλω guys.
Αριστερά.
I understood hello guys. I understood boot camp, and I understood group. And I feel like that's all I needed to know. Go to boot camp, group up, hello, guys. That's the strategy right now.
Yeah, I think you can see that they're taking control of the hill south of boot camp. Right? They're stacking players on that, which is nice because, as we said, that pocket strategy just wasn't really working. Yes, they won last map, but I wanted to see them group up and make those death stacks, and it definitely seems to be working. At least early on, because they started to get those kills with this group. They're picking off those stragglers, but it sounded a bit frantic almost through those comms. We went to them in other teams in the past where it's just like one or two people talking. It's very relaxed, very mellow at this point. But Greece sounded very frantic.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, there's a lot going on. I mean, I don't know if you've ever played WoW. Oh no, you weren't born back then. That's right. But I used to be like when I was 16, I was a raid leader in a guild in WoW. We were 40 people in the same Ventrilo channel trying to communicate. It's not always easy, believe me. And when this is a first-person shooter, and arguably you're a little more at risk at any given time, because in the games like World of Warcraft, you can kind of go, okay, 3, 2, 1, is everyone ready? Great, let's go. Here, you're not always the one calling the shots as to when you have a fight or not. So you always have to be on your tippy toes, and that means that if the communication isn't clear on a channel like that, then a lot of people can really quickly make a lot of stress and fuss over something that might not even be too stressful.
Yeah, that's why we see those teams sort of build a chain of command. Right? We have the platoon commanders that are in a team speak with the team captain, and then each platoon's in a Discord. So they try to separate out of the comms to keep it a little bit more relaxed, keep it a little bit clearer, and just keep those stacks together. Because if you can keep your little eights, keep it in a little group, then you're all communicating to each other, and you can keep comms at a manageable level, right? But as soon as you get to that point where you've got like 20 people trying to talk to each other, it is very rough trying to understand what's going on.
It can be extremely tricky. Now let's see. Fine is he's all right for now. He is the one who's pushed the furthest up towards Hungary. Numbers are still pretty even. Next circle, I believe, could potentially kind of showcase who's going to be the attacker and who's going to be the defender of this game. And I feel like that's kind of funny because early on, unless if the first circles go like to military on Erangel or something really, really rough, then first circle, everyone kind of gets an even chance to push in. Mm-hmm. But already then, you kind of have to make up your mind as to whether you want to be potentially at least the one attacking or the one defending.
And it feels like on Sanhok as well, it's so hard to get information, right? You can't just go and drive into the middle of the map. I mean, most people are on foot first off, so you always get it picked off. These stragglers are always getting randomly shot by people that you just have no information about. So it becomes so difficult to position yourself in such a way that you have map control. But I think Greece did a really good job of it so far. They were in boot camp. They took control of that South Hill, and they're starting to spread out, starting to take control of the middle of the map and lock Hungary on the southern side.
It looks pretty decent on the Greek side of things, trying to split out now and get a little bit more control. Let's see. It was interesting to see in the first circle how little space they were actually taking up. I mean, they were all kind of let's fight right here, right now, kind of positioned, and now as you can see, with the circle going over east, majority of the players are already in, but the Hungarian ones are yet again the ones aggressing. And for the love of everything holy in the world, Greece, stand your ground. Maybe not now, but at some point during this match.
Yeah, the problem now is Greece have split up again. We have 5 players here that are just completely isolated from the rest of the roster. And if Hungary can swarm them, just get rid of this group and make sure that they're trading effectively, then especially with this group behind from BP5, there's not really anything Greece can do to stop it.
Foda, Prorix, you talked about BP5 and how they're some pretty effective players. Now they're showing us exactly why. A lot of BP5s in the kill feed.
Yeah, they didn't really have an impact on the first 2 games. We saw them go down early consistently, but this time they're turning up. They're starting to clear out this area. They're losing a couple players, you see on the kill feed, but overall, I think the kills have gone more in favor of Hungary than against, right, so far. I think they've got they brought the man advantage back by about 2 kills. So a favorable trade, but realistically, you look at the zone and how much control Greece has. If they can just control where they are, they stay where they are, force Hungary to push into them, they're in such a good position.
So was it really a bait all along? You can see all the Greek players now kind of trying, not swarming the compound, but at least like getting around it to try and see if they can contain. And I like that. That might be the first we see of a not necessarily aggressive Greek team, but a more like stubborn, decisive-esque Greek team.
I think more proactive is a great way to put it, where they're putting themselves in a position where they can do damage rather than waiting for Hungary to walk into their trap. They're setting new ones up. They can get a couple kills. Erzdeath, I think, knows there's more underneath them. Yeah, you can hear them for sure. You should be able to get at least one here, maybe even two. Ooh, not quite going to get the second kill.
First there.
He's a beamer for this one, but it's so easy to shoot down because they really can't do anything about it. And the fact that they're now clearing off these stragglers from Hungary is putting Greece in a position where, I mean, most of that Hungarian team is in that little compound, right? So Greece can put themselves in a position where they just contain that, they just surround it and lock Hungary in, and there's just nothing Hungary can do.
Let's see. Freezy also sitting up on the rocks, looking around, trying to see if they can spot some opponents. They know that there are Hungarian players in the core where somewhere you should get eyes on. Oh no, you're looking the wrong place. He's right below you. No! It's so frustrating when we know. Like, it's on your screen and we go, oh, why don't you see him? But believe me, he could have the map up. He could have his tab up. He could be doing a lot of things that we wouldn't know about. And also his eyes could just be elsewhere. That's the only thing that I hope that we at some point get in PUBG, which I've always wondered why we don't have. When you're in observing mode, we have no idea whether the players are actually, like, whether they have the map up or whether they are looking through their inventory for something or what's happening. I feel like that should be an indicator showing what they're doing. Now with that set, let's hold back.
Hit your shot.
Off.
Yeah, a bit of a wild spray from what a nade. Is it going to get a kill? No, it bounced off. So Ace is taken with a free one. But we said that Greece could lock Hungary in the western side. And once again, Hungary's just found a way through. I mean, yes, they're still locked sort of towards the edge of their map on this northwest, but they now have a way to get across that road. They take control of the Kosovo compound. I mean, all of a sudden, it's looking like if Hungary can just flood up this hill before the reinforcements join in, I mean, they could turn this around.
Yeah, there's a good chance for Hungary to do something here. The numbers are pretty even. Scoleto does manage to run off with 1 HP as both. Nasco, calm down. Calm down.
Excited.
Wait, you don't shoot him, just rest him. And now he's sitting flushed.
Yeah, and this gunfight is massive. For the implications of it is really almost map deciding, I think. Because if Hungary can't get beyond where they are now, if they get stuck, and then they're not getting kills that they're flushing out at the same time, then there's really no way in the circle. But for now, they're getting a lot of knocks, and there's not really any trading coming in. There's no refrags from the Greek side. And once again, we're seeing a fight where you see like sort of 8 to 10 Greek players fighting the entire Hungarian roster, and the rest of Greece is just not joining in.
They are managing to keep it isolated exactly the way they want to. They don't necessarily need the bigger numbers overall. As long as they're not fighting the entire Greek team at the same time, then it's not really a big issue.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's only a 4-man disadvantage, so it's still perfectly winnable for Greece. But, I mean, we were looking at the position. None of the Hungarian players were in the circle at the start of the phase. Greece had a man advantage at the start of the phase, and it's just sort of just disintegrating in front of them as they just failed to lock Hungary down.
You can see again BP5 all over the kill feed. They're up now by 5 kills. They were behind just a short while ago, but now they seem to have found the kills, and you can see how split Greece are. They even have a ton of players far down south who don't really, I mean, they're sitting in the compound while their entire team is getting slaughtered on the hill. Why are they down there? They should be up and helping.
And it's just a case now where the solos have to look at so many angles that, even if they do get the drop on one player, they just get traded instantly because of the overwhelming man advantage. And now it's 8 in the favor of Greece with a bunch of, with the favor of Hungary rather, with a bunch of players down as well. And still, that group in the southwest is just sat in the compound. So at this point, I just don't really understand it. I'm confused.
It does seem like there's either miscommunication or just straight up lack of communication on the Greek team, because it's funny how the last couple of seasons that we followed the Greek team, I mean, they've made it really far. They've made it to the final at 1.2. The last times we've seen them play, Greek has always been the team that were, at least in terms of this tournament, kind of pioneering in communication. They were the first ones to have both TeamSpeak and Discord up at the same time. We got some in-depth info from Shinjae on how they were doing different things, and they just always seemed like There was just never a break of communication. It was always working really, really well for them. This, on the other hand, they're all over the place.
It kind of feels like they're just trying too hard to be innovative and too hard to do some really smart strategy when they could just take a gunfight and win it, right?
Yeah.
I think if they took a straight-up man-to-man gunfight against Hungary, Greece, I would say probably the favourites, right, mechanically. Yeah. But the fact that they're always giving Hungary those favourable gunfights by just backing off, and not reinforcing when the engagement does happen, not recognising that, you know, most fights, at least with the way Hungary are playing, where they're just stacking on top of each other, most fights involve pretty much 90% of the Hungarian team. So the fact that they're not stacking into those gunfights because they have this strategy of taking the compounds, taking map control, and, you know, backing off and sort of trying to corral Hungary into a specific position is just not working.
Yeah, now they are at a 9-player deficit. So even though that sounds tough, and it is, they're not done for yet.
It wouldn't be the biggest clutch we've had, but
no, we've seen bigger, and it's still doable. But we're looking at every single Greek player before getting killed has to get like 3 or 4 kills with them. So every time they lose a player, like we see now, that really, really becomes an issue. Skirt is back at it again. Finds 2 knocks. Already has 2 kills. He's going to find a 3rd. No, he sure is taking his part of the job.
Can't stop, won't stop. He's just rolling through the Hungarian roster. And maybe this is the player. Oh, he finally goes down, as we say that. Maybe he was the player. He's the win condition for this team, it seems.
Look at the numbers, especially if Hungary keeps killing their teammates. Should we tell him? Stop shooting! What are you doing? Is he running down to kill him?
Oh, I'm not going to clue.
Was he told?
He might be going for the res, but he's going to run straight past the Hungarian. But I mean, it's going to be what, 3 to 10, 2 to 10, make it.
A bait all along. 2v10, make that 1v11.
Jeez.
Blessed. You need to be literally blessed in order to have any chance of doing this. There was a moment where Skirt found 3 quick knocks after one another. I thought, oh my god, there might actually be a chance, but I'm not seeing this happen. It's going to be 2-1 in favor of Hungary.
As soon as you say that, Hungary start team killing.
Yeah. To be fair, Pataki was the guy that was being shot at by SLS, so maybe it was his revenge.
Oh, you got to hit. If you want to win that clutch, you got to hit your shots. Bless. There you go. Finally gets ribbons down. But he's got another friend. Ring around the rosies.
It doesn't matter. There comes the pan. A little too late though. Greece and Cyprus eliminated once more as we finish off map number 3, 2-1 in favor of Hungary now. To be fair, coming into this, I thought Greece was going to get the upper hand, not easily, but somewhat easily. I'm of a mixed opinion now. I mean, having seen today, Hungary's just been playing better. At least they've been playing more aggressive.
And they definitely feel like, in terms of strategy, they have the ascendancy, or they have the advantage. They just seem to be working so much better as a team compared to Greece. And I mean, to an extent, we have seen that in the past from Hungary, at least in this season of Nations Royale. But I mean, I'm just looking at this Greek roster. It just feels like a shadow of its former self, right? And we look back to season 2 of Nations Royale, where they made the final. And it just does not feel like a team that has made a final.
No, not at all. By no means, actually. It's a little confusing. And you said it too. I mean, you could hear in the comms earlier. It seems like they were kind of stressed. Or I mean, there wasn't a negative vibe at all. They seemed pretty chill, but it still sounded like kind of stress communication, a situation where there really wasn't a whole lot going on. So maybe they just gotta calm down, and as you said, I mean, not try and do that many things at once. Just go, good, we know they're over here. The Hungarian team always plays together. What do we do to deal with it? Instead of having people in like 14 different compounds split out all over the place.
Yeah, and I feel like it's almost a misunderstanding of what map control is. Because, I mean, when you just say that phrase, you just think, well, we have people around the map controlling specific areas. But realistically, the most important part of map control is denying it for the other team, forcing the other team into a specific location and locking them in. And they had that opportunity on the West when Hungary hit that compound with like 20 players. They could have just locked them in. And you wouldn't need players on the eastern side of the circle. You just naturally have control of it by locking them in the West. So it kind of feels like they're focusing too much on having presence in places and not enough in denying control for the other team.
As we said after the last game, coulda, woulda, shoulda. It's always easy for us to sit here and say, and the fact of the matter is, it's 2-1 Hungary. They have potentially 3-match games coming up. It's first to 3 games. It's the best of 5. Let's see if they can bring it home next game, or if we'll head on over to the very final 5th map. We're going to take a short break. I'm back and ready with Vikendi in just a moment. 2-1 to Hungary over Greece and Cyprus as we make our way into what could potentially be the final game of this matchup, and that would see Greece and Cyprus eliminated from the tournament. I'm Toby, joined by Saint, and we are bringing you all the Nations Royale action here at GLL. Saint, interesting last game. It wasn't, I mean, the first 2 games were very similar in style. I don't feel like this one was quite the same, but it still had the Hungary attacks, Greece plays on their back foot, and eventually gets run over vibe to it.
You know, it wasn't quite as... I mean, if you look at like game 2, how much control Greece had over the circle. Like, Hungary at least had a route into this one this time, but I think it's the nature of Sanhok, where you can't really play long range, right? You can't really sit in a compound and control the whole area around it. You have to play aggressive. You have to push onto a team and just not give them any room to move. And the fact that Greece didn't do that when Hungary were on that western side just allowed Hungary in, allowed them to pick off players one by one and just push their way to the win.
I feel like there's been multiple occasions on pretty much all the maps, even the one that they did end up winning, where they could have shut it out earlier. I mean, Greece.
Yeah.
Like, this could have, in a parallel universe, been a Greece 3-0 win, and that parallel universe isn't that far away from...
I think it probably should have.
We are. I mean, it could have been like that, right? Skirt doing everything he can to try and help his team. He has as many kills as half the team has together, almost. That's pretty impressive, sitting at a solid 10 kills so far. Of course, 7 of those coming on the Miramar game. Prorix on the other side finds 7 kills on his own, and the BP5 representative is pulling quite a bit of weight for the Hungarian team.
Yeah, they're starting to step up. Game 1, they didn't really have any impact, the BP5 team. They 2 of them went down, we saw like literally at the start of the game, and then nothing happened from the other 2. But now they're starting to turn around, starting to pull their weight, and starting to pull that team towards the 3-1. And I mean, we were saying at the end of map 2 that maybe that was the point where Greece resets. Greece sort of steps into that role that we sort of painted for them, where they were the favourites, and sort of dominates the game from then on. But realistically, they just weren't there. It kind of felt like mentally like they just come out of game 1 or game 2. Yeah, just come out of that big loss, and I find it hard to believe that they can win this game, really, just the way I've seen them play.
Yeah, it's it sounds weird, but I kind of feel like the way Greece wins this game and potentially the next one too is by not getting circles. I feel like if you force them to play aggressive, if you force them to push as one anywhere, that's when you would see them actually maybe make a play. Whenever you give them enough time to sit back and find themselves comfortable in a compound or sit and await, and they get too much time to think about things and can split off the way that they do, that's when Hungary come bulldozer. Oh my lord, that's an interesting circle. We have 1 player inside it. You would think so. Ooh. Ow. Let's see how things are gonna pan on out from here. Greece still in a tough situation. They need to get eyes on what's happening down towards the south. It's really not going to be easy at all. for them to fight through. And also, I mean, everyone pretty much has a pretty long rotation to make. Hmm. I'm hearing from the production side that they can't hear you right now. I don't know what's happening, but so maybe it was the helicopter that flew over your house. It had like a big EMP, and now it's broken the feed from you to Sweden, because your feed to Denmark works just fine. I don't know what that is, but it's just online things being online. But I'll if you guys were enjoying a 15-20 second silence there, then I can tell you that you missed out on all the amazing things to explain it now, as I've told you. Then Saint, you can just rewind a minute or two and then elaborate on what it is you're explaining to, well, apparently only me just before.
Yeah, so I want to see Greece take control of the eastern edge of the map, right? I want to see them hold Hungary out of the circle, force them to either take that early gunfight or make some weird rotation on the south, force them to play in a disadvantage, because every time they're taking good positions, but then they just go, we'll just let you have that one. You know, we'll let you have the compound in the middle of the map to Hungary, or we'll let you come in from the north. And they just keep handing these little treats to the Hungarian team. So I want to see them, no nonsense, hold Hungary out of the circle and take an early gunfight.
I kind of just want them to all stack one place. Like, say, screw the circles. Let's put 32 people in the coal mines. Or let's put 32 people in Goroka. If they come here, we wreck them. If they don't, we find them and kill them. Like, literally just go, or just put freaking 32 people on a train. I don't care. Just together somewhere on the map where you can fight together. Because they must know. I mean, they've already lost 2 maps. The map they won, they almost lost. And after every, there's people on the train. Yay! Now I've seen that too.
I think it's the first time in Nations Royale we've seen usage of a train.
People on the train, yeah. More.
Just stack. Get the whole team on the train.
No, don't go off the train. What are you doing?
Yeah, I want to
the train. No, they got picked up.
I kind of feel like we should just hand them up to Greece now.
Yeah. Can we just kick everyone and say Greece won?
Yeah, just insta 3-2.
Jokes aside, I don't know. I feel like that's kind of what they. I mean, not trains obviously, but that's kind of what they have to do in terms of playing it together as not necessarily as 32, but just as more, because when you after every game, you have to go back and say, okay, we lost that game, feels bad, man. No, you don't have that much time, but you got to do some sort of evaluation on what went wrong and why it went wrong since you lost the game. And if they've done just any analysis at all, they should have come to the same conclusion 3 times in a row now. Even in the game that they won, they must have been like, okay, we had all the circles, we almost still lost it. How did that happen? Because what we've been saying, they're trying to do too many things.
Yeah, it's just simplicity.
Now it's just going to be too late.
Like, especially given how many sort of moving parts there are, right? Yeah, you have 32 players on each side. You can't properly strategize and account for like this specific, like really detailed specifics. You just need to do something simple, like we're going to put Hungary into a bad position, and then we're going to take the gunfight. Like that needs to be a strategy. Not we're going to take 7 compounds and we're going to stack X amount of players in each one, and then this one's going to fall back to here. You just can't plan like that. It just does not work, because as soon as Hungary does something that's slightly unexpected, the whole plan goes out the window.
That's a UMP against the car. Not massively effective, but here comes the push from Hungary. And look at how they're playing it. They're pushing everyone in one big pile together, whereas the Greek team has 7 players now up against the entire Hungarian team, and they're out of ammo. That's unfortunate. Might well just get the car, get the hell out of there.
He's got a shotgun.
When you're 7 against 30 right now, right? It's not gonna work. It's literally not going to work.
It's a free man advantage for Hungary right now. Oh, unless they do that, where they start killing themselves with cars. It's definitely suboptimal. But if they can wipe out this little group, push it to like a 3-4 kill advantage. I mean, Greece are literally like half the team's AFK. Actually, 2/3 of their team's AFK on the west side of the map. Like, do something.
Or just you shouldn't have been in this situation to begin with. I mean, what good does it do that you have 7 people isolated down there? It wasn't that they didn't have vehicles. They were clearly sitting there for a reason, trying to scout forward or something. But when Hungary, again, as they have done every single game so far, comes pushing with the entire team, you gotta know that strat ain't gonna work against them. It might be a great strat against other teams that are trying to do kind of similar things to what Greece are doing. Maybe your kind of ambush 6-man squad can work against a 6 or maybe a 7 or maybe even a 10-man squad of an opposing team if they aren't ready for it. But it ain't never gonna work. Yes, you might get the 2 or 3 first kills, but you're gonna lose 6 or 7 people or whatever size your ambush team is in return, because they are always going with the entire team.
Yeah, it's like you always hear these stories about people that like fend off wild animals, right? And you hear the ones about the bear where people like play dead or they run away from the bear, and then you hear elephants where like the way you defeat an elephant is you just stand still, and so they run towards you and you just stand your ground. And it kind of feels like they need to employ that strategy. They need to treat Hungary like an elephant.
Would you do that?
Yeah, I mean, because they stop.
An elephant came charging towards you.
Yeah, you're supposed to stop. Yeah. I mean, I probably wouldn't.
Does the elephant stop, though?
But apparently, according to...
Maybe. So there's like a 50% chance. Upside down.
I mean, if you start running, you're going to get flattered anyway, right? So you might as well try it.
Unless you find somewhere to hide.
I mean, an elephant running at like 30 miles an hour, you've not got much time to hide, right? But but they need Hungary is an elephant. There we go. There's my analogy for the night.
Just take the beast.
But instead, they're treating Hungary like a bear. They're running away. They're backing.
Do you run away from bears?
I mean, you're screwed if a bear runs at you, really.
Aren't you supposed to act like you're big, rah, and yell a lot?
Yeah, they just eat you anyway. Bears don't really care. Well, yeah, because an elephant is running at you because it's trying to scare you away, whereas a bear's running at you because it wants to eat you.
Is it though? I feel like bears only attack when they defend their kids and whatnot.
Yeah. I feel like
I'm not Steve Irving.
We're going down a rabbit hole right now. But
it's
anyway,
a good rabbit hole to go to. It's the bear against the elephant.
I mean, I don't think bears or elephants fit in rabbit holes. But,
it depends on the size of the rabbit.
That's true. If it's a were
Let's
rabbit.
see if this rabbit hole is going to be fit by the Hungarian team, because once again they are all coming, and we have 3 Greek players or Cyprus players here trying to defend. First kill goes in favor of Hungary.
What a surprise! And realistically, now the rest of the Greek team up on that hilltop can't really do much. I mean, the knocks are coming in, but Skirt gets traded out. The man advantage grows bigger. 4 now for Hungary. They just keep doing this, keep picking apart the Greek roster, and Greece is not doing anything. There's a great opportunity now for Greece to spread out around this compound and lock 2/3 of the Hungarian team in there and just flat out can't get out. Are they doing it? It kind of feels like they're doing it. They have players on the west at least.
They should. I mean, the entire Hungarian team is here. If they are allowed to leave this compound for free, then, I mean, one thing is that Greece won't win it, but then I'm going to say Greece didn't also deserve to win it to begin with. Like that's simply too many opportunities they're losing out on.
It kind of feels like Greece has recognized that they need to just lock them in now. They're starting to spread out around the compound, which I'd love to see. But it's whether, do they stay here? Do they start backing off and taking map control again? Because once again, they're spreading out. I mean, yes, they're spreading out to lock them in right now. But if they start getting into like groups of 2 and 3, and Hungary starts to recognize that and pick them apart, then that 5-kill man advantage in Hungary's favor is going to become much bigger.
Well, they still have them down there. It doesn't seem to me like Hungary is in a hurry to try and leave. As I say that, you are seeing cars maneuvering out. Give it. Oh, I thought he was going to miss that for a second. Does get the knock on some Magnum. Flushes him as well. So 4 players down still. But again, we're in a situation where you have to say that Greece has the upper hand in terms of terrain. Will they take advantage of it, though? I don't know.
It does definitely feel like they've changed their strategy slightly. I mean, at least the way they're positioning themselves, they're trying to make sure that Hungary can't leave. Right? They're trying to make sure that Hungary's on this north side. which I really like to see. That they're not leaving anyone on the southern edge. They're not leaving anyone in these little compounds. They're all stacked here, trying to lock out Hungary. And now it's just about whether Hungary can find a chink in the armor, find a way to break through the front line. But the only way realistically they're going to do that is if someone like Hellcat can get like 2 or 3 kills here and rip apart this little angle.
Flank falls as well. Gibbet finds one more. Again, we're not really seeing Hungary aggress to try and move into any specific position. Hellcat is up close, but hasn't opted to reveal his position yet. But you gotta feel like, I was just gonna say, you gotta feel like he has to make a move at some point, because right now his teammates are folding, and now they've started utilizing the Hungarian smokescreen strategy again, which mainly consists of running over teammates.
Yeah, and Greece are slowly creeping back into this game in terms of the kill feed. Right, it's been a lot of knocks, but there we go. Finally, Hellcat strikes. Yeah, count the grass. takes a little bite out of the armor. I was trying to find a way to make that a pun. I could not do it for the life of me. But he only gets 1, which is not great.
Yeah, you feel like with that position he would have been able to get more, but he wasn't really in a... I mean, despite him being close to the opponents, there was only really 1 he could get immediately, and then as soon as his position is revealed, there's a lot of opponents looking. Fast peek. Does peek fast, but doesn't shoot. Now he does. Nice spray down, but exact similar situation to Hellcat just before. Yes, you get the first knock, but now you have like 15 players looking at you.
Yeah, it kind of feels like, again, Greece... they're sort of bowing to the pressure a little bit. They had control of this ridge that Hungary's now on, and they backed off a little bit and let them come up. And like Greece had them stuck in that compound, right? Yes, they have a lot of map control now, but I mean they're starting to like push in one by one. Like we see this little group here. As soon as Hungary turns around and wipes them out, there's nothing they can do about it.
Greece are now playing aggressive, though. I guess that's what we've been asking for. Is it going to work out, though, or not? We're not quite sure. 0 hours past 1 month. That's not a lot of it, but it does hit some shots. Shots are being hit in return, though. The numbers advantage are still in favor of Hungary. But I gotta say, I like what I'm seeing from Greece. I'm just afraid it might be too late.
And the problem is, though, that Greece has that big group in the center that's not helping on this push, right? When you commit to this kind of aggression, it needs to just be like an all or nothing, right? You have to go as a whole team, and instead it's like 6, 7 Greek players, and yes, they got a couple kills, but because they're all isolated now, once Hungary sort of reacted to that, they're starting to just rip them apart. And that's why the kill feed is still so Hungarian. Yeah,
literally on his feet, and a double volley to finish it off. And yeah, I agree. I mean, that's kind of the other side to the story of the failed opportunities for Greece. One thing is we said that they were spread too thin. Another thing is as if communication only goes halfway. Like you have half the team who are kind of agreeing on what to do, and then the other half goes out and does something completely different. Or
I mean, look at that middle of the map. All those players were on the hilltop where the Hungarian roster is now. And all of them backed off south and just let them onto the hilltop. And as soon as you have that high ground, you can just start ripping people apart. I mean, the Greek line got split into like 5 or 6 groups. And then Hungary just started collapsing on each one. Right? They started taking down those groups one by one and just pushing them advantage in their favor.
You can do this sort of thing where you lose 1 player, fall back because you still have 3 alive and get more placement points when you're playing a normal game of PUBG. But there's no placement points here. Either you win or you lose. Like there's first place and there's losing. So if you back off now with this player deficit, you're just postponing the inevitable. And I think it's pretty safe to say that this is going to be an Hungarian win where the first game Hungary wins, so let's just talking over all these guys fighting through it. The first game Hungary wins, I feel like it sounds weird, but Greece lost it more than Hungary won it. Ever since then, you gotta give it to Hungary. I mean, they've exploited the flaws of the Greek team, and there we go. 3-1, Hungary takes home the round, and they will be going up against Germany.
But you say that game 1 definitely felt like Greece lost it. But even game 3 and 4, Greece were always the one in the advantage, right? They were always the one with map control, always the one with the better compounds, the high ground, and they just backed off. They just stepped backwards, started pressing S, started walking backwards, getting the vehicles, moving backwards to compounds. Every move they made was backwards. It was like you'd lose 1 player on the hill, and then the other players got scared to die, so they run away and think, I'll fight next time. And then in that position, you lose another player and you run away, and then the man advantage just gets completely unassailable in the end. And Hungary just slowly picked them apart. I mean, we see here you've got like 4 players here making a push, and no one joins them. from the Greek roster. No one comes to support them. And once Hungary realised that, just 10 people collapsed on them and shut them down. And it just kept pushing that man advantage up. And eventually it ended in the most one-sided game we had in this best of 5.
They managed to split it into a lot of separate, smaller skirmishes where they always had the upper hand in numbers because Greece and Cyprus just weren't ever together. Like they were never positioned in a way that they could get the upper hand in the fight, even though the numbers in the top and the middle might have told us another story. They were up by 7, I believe, at one point during this last match. It never was actually the case because, as we've been talking about, half the team was never around when they started fighting.
Yeah, I mean,
it never came either.
It could be 30 versus 20, but if your team was split into 6 groups of 5, and they're all fighting one by one, it doesn't matter how big your man advantage is if you're just feeding kills. And it kind of felt like the whole series, Greece have just been feeding those kills over to Hungary. And yes, they did win that one map on Miramar, but it kind of felt like that was, I think, a Hungarian mistake when they tried to leave that ridge right on the Miramar. That was when they lost the game. And they probably could have just run through Greece and made it a 3-0 if they'd won that one. But on the other 3 maps, every time Greece was just giving Hungary a way into a circle that really they had no right to be in.
Yeah, it was a it was a one-sided affair that shouldn't have been a one-sided affair. I mean, and that's what has me confused. I mean, I know it's not the exact same lineup as Greece has played with for other years, but other Nations Royale seasons, but it's the same captain. I assume he, for the most part, has the same generals underneath him. I'm baffled by how they have bested teams that, to me, at least on paper, seems better than Hungary by having proper communication, by being good at engaging together and executing all these different strats that they've been working on, and then see them now where nothing seemed to work.
And I wonder whether that was just a case of Greece playing badly or whether it was Hungary's strategy was a perfect counter, right? Where Hungary's, because you see a lot of teams do like to split up into a long line. Take a lot of presence in the middle of the map. I think Finland was a good example where they didn't necessarily just stack up and run in. They sort of took the time, they spread out, which is actually why they lost the game. But I feel like Greece's strategy would be perfect against a team like that. But as soon as you run into a team that just wants to take those gunfights, wants to push into your chinks and exploit them, it just falls apart.
I feel like, though, that's part of the reason why we have a best of 5, so it's not just one map over and done with, and that's it. There were enough resets, okay, let's start the new map, for Greece to work around that. Greece tried to execute the same strategy every single game against the team where every single game, even the one that they won, were reminded that it doesn't work, and it seemed like they never really tried to do things another way around. Let's take a look at the leaderboard and see who managed to find the most kills. Skrt manages to get up there with 10. A lot of the kills obviously came off of the Miramar game. 7 kills in one game. That's got to be some sort of a record, I would assume. SLS also, despite shooting at his teammates too, those managed to surpass Prorix with a solid 9-kill performance in the 4 games.
And I think we just look at that and you see actually a lot of the Greek players had an impact on the game. So it wasn't necessarily that Hungary had more players influencing the game. It was just every time Hungary had the players that were winning out the gunfights. There were players on the Hungarian team that would get 2, maybe even 3 in a gunfight. And that was why they just started running through teams. Whereas on Greece, every player, let's say in a game, you had 10 players that got 1 kill and then went down. There was no one really, apart from Skrt on the Miramar game, there was no one that really stepped in and just went, I'm going to go big. I'm going to drop 5 or 6 kills. And that was just why, aside from the Miramar game, they just couldn't find a way through.
Yeah, and even on Miramar, it seemed like it was barely even won by them. Denmark beat Kosovo, Albania. They are going to go up against Finland tomorrow. Estonia beat France. That's a surprising one to me. They managed to go up against Kazakhstan. Norway bested Sweden. They will go against Czechia. And now, as we can see in the bottom, the game that we just followed, Hungary managed to surpass Greece and Cyprus, and they will be going up against Germany. All of it will be starting tomorrow at 6 o'clock CEST. Now, there are, if you're watching some of the other, if you want to see some of those other matches, there are different streamers broadcasting some of them. I know that. I do not know the names of them exactly, though, so don't quote me on it or count me on who is streaming what, but I know that some of the games have been able to be seen. But of course, we will be here tomorrow as well, broadcasting you one of the 2 semifinals here. Russia and Turkey will be going up against each other. Two giants heading off and battling one another. And then Ukraine and Netherlands, which to me, I think in comparing those two matches, you have to think that Russia-Turkey is the I know we have the upper and lower bracket, but that's like the upper bracket within the upper bracket.
Yeah. I mean, I think before the start of this, when you look at those first two teams, Russia and Turkey were the favourites coming into this. So the fact that they're meeting in that upper semi is going to be an explosive one.
Exactly. Now we do have an interview ready with Hola Silva, the captain from Hungary. So let's hear what he has to say. Hola, can you hear us?
Yes, I can. Hello there.
Great. Hello. Congratulations on the win over Greece. And let me just get straight to it. How was the game? Did the games play as you expected?
Almost everything. We learned from the Russia's defeat. I mean, we learned that we have to hold W and shift. So we win.
That looked like it was your strategy. Were you surprised? Because we were a little surprised. Greece is a good team. I mean, they've been in the finals of this tournament many times before, and they've beaten some of the very good teams also. Were you surprised that they always, like, whenever you come pushing, that they always fill back? Or were you expecting maybe that they were being more aggressive towards you?
The Miramar match was pretty bad. I mean, I made the call to push full north, but the team did not do that. I mean, we could have won that too. But
that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
We saw a lot of team kills, particularly in the first two games, right? And I think there's an issue with communications on the team that is causing people to get run over and people to get shot by their own teammates.
No, actually, I tried to get back, but I couldn't because all my mates blocked me, and then they finished me.
That's unfortunate. Is there? I gotta ask you because we were just talking about it, and we saw it in the Erangel game too. 4 times a person runs over a teammate in the first 7 minutes of the Erangel game. Is Hungary just bad at driving? Or is it we're doing it on purpose? Because it looked like you were doing it on purpose in the end of it.
Was it the same person?
No, it was different people every single time. All different people run over teammate in 7 minutes on the Hungarian team in game one.
I have no idea, actually.
Will you maybe as a captain you have to give them like a little driver's education for next game?
Actually, I was so busy calling. I didn't even notice.
Maybe that's a good thing. Maybe that's a good thing. Any more questions you want to throw at him, Luke, while we have you here?
I think that's me done.
That's you done. I want to hear one final thing before we let you go. What are you going up against Germany tomorrow? What are you going to change anything from playing against Greece for tomorrow, or will it be the same strategy, hold, shift, and W?
Yeah, to be honest, that's the best tactics in Platoon. I mean, it's even better to not to be in the circle because you have to push.
Yeah, that's what we were thinking. That might be too. But thank you so much, Hola, for sharing some insight. Any shout outs you want to give to fans and viewers out there?
Thank you for all the fans for cheering for us.
There you go. Thank you so much, Hola, for tuning in, and congratulations again on defeating Greece and Cyprus, and best of luck in the games tomorrow against Germany. That's gonna be a tough one. I mean, that's gonna be a difficult one, Mr. Name at Info.
Hello, fellow Name at Info. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at that, and you'd think off the top of your head that Germany is the team that's the favorite, right? But with the way we've seen Hungary play, and I mean, they clearly know like the right strategy, which is to just take your gunfights as a blob. They clearly know the way that they should be playing. So I think that's going to be a really exciting game and probably a really close one.
Will holding shift and W work out against Germany, though?
I think it depends on how Germany plays. Because if Germany is also trying to be the aggressive team, we're going to see that really big early gunfight happen, maybe like circle 2 and 3. And then it all just comes down to which team's got the mechanical skill and the teamwork.
Yeah, well, that's the big question. Who will prevail when it all comes down to it? We have some giant matchups going down tomorrow, but that's all going to have to wait. We will be back tomorrow, same time, same place. So make sure to be back here at 6 p.m. CEST or 1800, whatever you want to call it. Luke and I are signing off for today. So thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you again tomorrow.